This crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place?
The taco place?
Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jackson's.
Start collecting them today.
Jackson's, let's go!
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN Live is presented by our title sponsor, RoadPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our major sponsors, Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, and the Blue and Orange store. For more coverage of Boise State athletics, check out the all-new BroncoNationNews.com, now part of the 247 Sports family. Now, here's five-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
How we doing, Bronco Nation? The sun rose on Sunday. It rose again today, and the Boise State football team is back in action on Saturday against the New Mexico Lobos. That's going to be a fun game coming up late night Saturday night. We'll have all week to talk about that, but I am back on about 5 hours of sleep, as many other fans are. Packed plane coming back from Indianapolis, but made it back and ready to talk about this game for one more day, Nathan, and then kind of move ahead because there's some lingering issues and a lot to discuss from this game still. I know folks have had 48 hours to sleep on it and think about it, and we got 5 voicemails in the queue. If you do have a voicemail, we'll play that. We're giving away a $500 gift card to Shields, courtesy of Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. All week, you leave us a voicemail. On Friday's show, we'll draw a name from somebody that put a voicemail in, $500 gift card to Shields. All you got to do is leave us a voicemail this week, and we already have a couple in the queue, so we're looking forward to that. But Nathan, tremendous job. Nathan Carroll joining us today. Tremendous job on the pregame, the halftime, the postgame. I know you guys are 1-2 out there at Uncle Bob's, and hasn't been the easiest time, but appreciate you. And Markel Reed, I thought, did a tremendous job, but appreciate you for doing that on Saturday and then joining us again today, man. How's it going?
Yeah, doing well, BJ. Appreciate it. How about Markel, man? Something about this Boise State program. They just churn out these media professionals. I don't think he's done any media work, and I thought he did a fantastic job. So, yeah, Broncos haven't been winning out at Uncle Bob's Pizza, but, hopefully that train gets rolling. I know Spencer Danielson's never lost a Mountain West game as a head coach, so hopefully this next one for all those who come out there. I mean, we got a few weeks now until the next one, couple of home games back to back here.
I like it.
Be nice to be
my
in
next flight that I take. You're going to be on it with me. How about that?
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. I was thinking football games, and I was thinking, what game are we going together to? No, but you're right. You're heading down to Vegas for basketball media days, right?
Yeah, we're going to send Nathan, and Kanan's actually coming down too to help with all the equipment and stuff. But we're rolling deep. Basketball media day is only a couple of weeks away. Looking forward to that. But before we dive into the game here, Nathan, just epic trip, man. It was an awesome experience. I know fans that went had a really good time, and the Notre Dame fans couldn't have been nicer. Everyone I talked to, from the moment I arrived to the moment I left, Notre Dame fans were classy. There was times, man, at some of the tailgating and stuff, and I went to the linebacker bar where Boise State fans were having a good time and getting the Boise State chant going, and there'd be other fan bases, where you chant that, and they start chanting back, and it could get ugly as the drinks get flowing. You never know what could happen, and there was none of that, man. I thought it was they could not have been nicer, and I really enjoyed the trip, really enjoyed getting to talk to folks, and it's as good as advertised. I didn't think the stadium was quite as loud for an 80,000 seat stadium, and I've heard that from some other folks that thought the stadium wasn't maybe quite as loud. I don't know if the fans are just too nice at Notre Dame. They're not necessarily just going crazy and getting into the game, but I thought that the stadium was really cool. The touchdown Jesus, the whole town, it was as cool, it was as good as advertised. It was great to get over there and go, and then get a chance on Sunday to go down and see Ashton Jeanty. I have a short interview we are going to play with Ashton that I just remembered, need to put in the system here at some point. I talked to Ashton after the game, got a chance to talk to him and see him do his thing. He didn't score a touchdown. Their team is awful. But who would have thought, man? I think somebody tweeted this, so I'll steal their line. But who would have thought after Saturday's game, folks that came down to Indy thought they would see a worse offensive performance on Sunday, a worse quarterback play. I mean, Geno Smith just that's a whole nother topic that we could go on for longer. But awesome trip, epic trip. And my kids wanted, I do kind of have I can't really show it here, but I have kind of a, what do you call it? I don't know if memorabilia is the right word, but kind of a memento, I guess, from some trips and stuff where I get stuff. Like when I went to the NFL draft, I bought a football from the NFL draft. I have a little mini helmet from the NFL draft, and I have a mini helmet or a football from the Mountain West Championship. This was really cool. They did this. I did buy a mini football that has both teams' logos on it. It has the date of the game, and this is kind of like engraved on there. It's pretty cool. So I got the little mini football to add to the list and remember my first trip to Notre Dame Stadium. And then not sure what I'm going to do with this. Maybe I put it right next to my door to my office here, and I hit this when I'm about to start the show, Nathan, but I did get the play like a champion sign. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. It was only like, they had the way nice. This is kind of a flimsy version for like $30. And I was like, you know what? I might as well buy this. I don't know what I'll do with it, but thought it was kind of cool and memorable. And they had the really nice like wooden one for $400, but this one was only like 30. So maybe I'll tap that every time I come in here to do the show. Host like a champion today should be. Maybe that's the mantra. But awesome trip, great trip, and man, last night I'm at the airport. And quick aside, Nathan, there's 2 flights with all Boise State fans pretty much leaving at the same time. One's going to Denver, one's going to Vegas, and then they're all connecting to Boise late. And it's 8:30 in the Indy airport down there. You've been to the Indy airport, very nice airport. So me and Riley Smith were enjoying a pre-flight beverage. Riley thinks he's on my flight, then realizes, oh no, he's on the one going to Vegas. Luckily he realized that in time, but the Vegas one was supposed to leave before us and get to Boise before us, even though it was a little out of the way, a little longer flying. But turns out they were delayed for like an hour, so they weren't leaving until like 10. And since they had, I think, 65 people on that flight, also on the Vegas to Boise flight, they held the one in Vegas, I guess. So anyway, long story short, get back to Boise. Sat next to Kelly Christensen from Timberstone on the second flight. Him and his wife enjoyed that. We land, and it's about 1 a.m. I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when we landed or so. And you're like, long travel, ready to get back. And I checked FlightAware, and the other flight hadn't even left Vegas yet. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm so happy that I wasn't on that one. Sky says got home at 2:30. He must have been on the Vegas one, maybe. I felt kind of bad doing this because Riley Smith had to actually work at 2 a.m. He was working all night. In his job, they rotate day and night with some concrete pours or something. He's in construction, overseeing that. Or I don't know all the details, but I know he was kind of nervous because he was supposed to go right into work and then have to and then get the day off. But and I knew he was super mad it was delayed. He wanted to try to get on the earlier one. He couldn't do it. So when we landed and I saw they hadn't even left yet, I sent him a text. I said, "You back in Boise yet?" And he told me that he was still in Vegas. And no, he texted me at like 2:26 that he just got back or whatever. And I'm just like, oh man, that's rough. But it was kind of cool. There was two full gates down there, all Boise State people. And anyone that went on the trip, I know the results of both games, frankly, weren't good. But in particular, the Boise State one, I know that the result wasn't what anybody wanted, but in terms of just a bucket list item and going to the game and having a memory and a trip, I think everybody's still probably left with a fun experience and a fun trip.
It's definitely on my bucket list. I know I was hoping to go and had some, personal stuff that came up that we ended up postponing our family trip to this one. I think we're going to try to head down to that San Diego State game in November, which I joked this weekend, Notre Dame Stadium, Snapdragon Stadium, really just two hallmarks, two relics of college football.
Same size crowds too. Yeah.
Now I wanted to ask you, because I've heard Notre Dame's not as loud despite being, 77,000 people, 80,000, wherever it is. How would you say it stacks up to Albertson Stadium? The Boise State crowds on think Mountain West Championship against UNLV last year. Is Boise State on that level or still a cut above or cut below just because of the difference in crowd size?
First of all, they don't have any advertisements in the stadium. No logos, no sponsor. I didn't realize that. Maybe everyone's like, yeah, dummy, that's how it is. Didn't realize that. Not a single logo for Pepsi or, Blue and Orange store. None of their sponsors, no logos anywhere in the stadium except an NBC and a Peacock one, for the game. But not one. It was unbelievable. Also with that, not one gimmicky game during a timeout, no sponsors on the scoreboard. I mean, they had like some pick the song and all that, but none of it was sponsored. They interviewed some former players, during timeouts on the field, but no sponsors, no ICCU money grab thing, none of that kicking for 10,000 off your home, none of that kind of stuff, just straight football. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now we did have windows that were mostly closed. There was one window at the top kind of open, so that makes it a little bit different, but it just, it was definitely bigger. But I would say Albertson Stadium in the Mountain West Championship game was probably louder. I mean, it probably was. It was a very loud crowd in Boise, as everybody knows. And I'm not trying to rip on their fan base. Like I said, tremendous fans, awesome experience. Hope to take my kids there someday. Just a different kind of day. Maybe because it was 85 degrees. I don't know it was just super hot. But it was packed. It was full, not an empty seat. And there was energy. It just didn't feel like there was a same energy. I don't know. Maybe not. But it was, and people in the crowd, I think were saying the same thing. They didn't think it was quite as loud. Tyler says I could talk to my wife on third down in a normal voice. Wasn't very loud at all. This is right. Justin K. The loudest it got was for the officials. They were booing the refs so bad. And then even after the game, I mean, Boise State fans had some gripes. Well, so did they. There were some bad calls on both sides. 26 penalties, I think. Melinda, and I heard this from a couple people, that the ushers were asking people to sit down. Crazy. Wow. So Dayton Robinson had posted that too. So there were, I heard that from multiple people that that's just not something they want you to do, is stand up. They tell you to sit down. So that kind of tells you the culture they want there in terms of fans sitting and stuff as well. But they were booing after the game, when the refs were leaving, they were booing them like crazy. They were booing them. There was some big call they made that I don't think it was the right call. I forget. And they were booing them for like 5 more plays. Oh, when the ball went into the end zone and they said it was a touchback when it probably should have been down at like the half-yard line. They were booing them for like 4 or 5 plays after that. But by the way, the stable says that they thought briefly when they looked at you were shirtless.
Oh, No, I'm not that pale, guys. All right, no, I just got a tan-colored shirt on this morning.
Overall, though, awesome experience, great trip, highly recommend it. And I know Jeremiah came on our pregame show. We were having some technical difficulties, but we recorded it and sent it back to you guys. And he was talking about, stealing some ideas from folks like that. And one of the things is something like this football where you can put, Boise State versus UNLV on it. And when UNLV fans come up, they can buy a football. Or if you're a fan that comes in, that's the one game you're going to all year, buy a shirt that you were at the Boise State UNLV game. So I think they're going to steal some ideas for stuff like that. And it was a cool experience, cool atmosphere, cool day, a cool trip, adding in the Ashton Jeanty one. But obviously the game did not go great for Boise State. And there's a lot, Nathan Carroll, to get into and discuss. The tackling, the penalties, Maddox Madsen's performance. We've got 5 voicemails in the hopper. If you want to leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN. As I said, we're going to give away a $500 gift card to Shields, courtesy of our friends at mysignatureroofing.com. Signature Roofing, the best in the business, folks. So re-roof or repair, an estimate and inspection. I know you know those guys, Nathan. They do a tremendous job at Signature Roofing. And if you want to get a $500 gift card to Shields, you can leave us a voicemail throughout the week. And if you put one in there, we'll draw all the names of people that leave us voicemails on Friday's show. And we will give away a $500 gift card to Shields, courtesy of Signature Roofing. Again, online, all your roofing needs at mysignatureroofing.com. All right, get your we got a ton of comments coming in, a ton of great thoughts, comments on the game. The biggest issue for you, is it Maddox Madsen? Is it the penalties? Is it the secondary is getting some criticism? And Nathan may have some numbers that says, maybe that's not where the first, criticism should be directed. I know some of you are still unhappy with the secondary. We mentioned the tackling, the penalties, a lot of stuff to discuss. So get your comments in, and we're going to dive into this game here momentarily. But do want to thank rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs, rowpaint.com. We'll see if Andy Rowe pops on later in the show. He was at the game. ROEpaint.com. Again, concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting. That Painter for a Day program they have going on. Hit them up at rowpaint.com. Hey, ICCU, Idaho Central Credit Union, they got 7 NIL deals with student athletes. They got their logo back on board inside, outside Albertson Stadium, and there'll be an Extra Mile Arena as well. And we appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. And they are back in the fold as a sponsor of Learfield and Boise State, and a partner, and getting in the NIL game as well. So return the favor, make the switch today. Raines family loving our deal and loving the fact that we're with ICCU. You can do that at ICCU.com. Taco Bell, Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. We appreciate the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. TacoBellWorks.com is their website. You can find out all the different things they've done, like committed more than $400,000 to student-athlete scholarships for the men's and women's basketball team through some endowed scholarships. They just do a tremendous job. And we appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. And the food's pretty darn good as well. We got flag football playoffs this week on Thursday and Friday, so I'm sure we'll be out there multiple times again. They just have this Taco Bell situated perfectly by the flag football field, Nathan. So before the game, after the game, it's pretty. I just bribe my kids. Hey, get a touchdown. We'll go get one of those slushies after the game. So Taco Bell, check them out online, TacoBellWorks.com. Didn't get the Latrell Caples touchdown this game, maybe next week, but when Latrell scores, Jackson's will pour 49-cent fountain drinks at Jackson's whenever Latrell Caples gets a touchdown. That's the Monday after the game. And don't forget to get those trading cards, $12.99. You can get those Jackson's trading cards, and Jackson's or Extra Mile by Jackson's, and 1 in 10 gets you a chance at an autographed card, and that is from our friends at Jackson's, the Blue and Orange Store. BlueandOrangeStore.com. You can get all your game day gear for a Saturday's game against New Mexico. You can go to the Hall of Fame location right there at Boise State. You can go to the location at the Boise Town Square Mall, or you can order anywhere in the world online at the BlueandOrangeStore.com. All right, Nathan, let's dive into this here. A ton to get to. We just posted about half an hour before the show your Pro Football Focus numbers, the snap counts, the analytical look a little bit. So subscribers, and by the way, today's the last day, 50% off. Last day they're doing the promo. It ends at midnight tonight. You want to jump on board, $5 a month. You can jump on like a good number of people did last week, and we appreciate everyone that is a new subscriber and has signed up. 50% off, $5 a month. But you can read today's story, all the Pro Football Focus analytical numbers, all the snap counts, who played, who didn't play, who graded out well, who didn't grade out well. That's all in there. But let's just start generally, Nathan, after you've had time to look at some of the numbers, time to think about this game for another day. The penalties, the tackling. I know you've said the tackling maybe wasn't quite as bad as some say in terms of a couple plays. Maybe you can get into that. But penalties, tackling, Madsen, wide receivers? How do you kind of rank, a secondary, as I said, coaching? I mean, where do you kind of rank some of the issues right now on this team?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two answers to that, because the one is, if the goal is to win a CFP game, what are your biggest issues? And if the goal for this team is to win a CFP game, I think the biggest issue is the pass game right now, and it's not particularly close. Maddox Madsen now against 3 games against Power 4 opponents, 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and hasn't looked particularly inspiring in any of those games, right? And if you look at those 3 games, I think if you get a little bit better quarterback play against Oregon, Boise State probably wins that game. You get a little bit better quarterback play against Penn State. Boise State was down 3 going into the 4th quarter, and then Maddox has 3 interceptions. And then, I think even against Notre Dame, if you get better quarterback play, I think Boise State has a real chance to win that game. Even beyond Maddox, the issues extend beyond that. The receivers, Spencer Danielson said it in the postgame press conference, the receivers weren't separating against man coverage. Latrell Caples is a really solid slot receiver. He's not going to be your wide receiver 1 against a really special secondary like Notre Dame. Now, we should also say Notre Dame gets Leonard Moore back, who's an All-American, hasn't played most of the season, and has 2 picks. He was phenomenal, right? If he's not there, maybe you put up more points like A&M did or like Purdue did. So in terms of you want to win a CFP game, I think it has to be the pass game. You need better receivers who can beat man coverage, and you need better quarterback play. Now, going into Mountain West play, and I know Prater's article talked about this. I kind of talked about this in postgame. Maddox has proven you can win the Mountain West with him. And there's not going to be a defense like Notre Dame in the Mountain West. There's not going to be a defense like Penn State in the Mountain West. So I think Maddox will probably be fine for Mountain West play. Whereas then I turn to quietly one of the biggest issues with this team is the run explosives. They gave up 3 explosive runs against Notre Dame. I haven't checked the numbers since the game, but going into the game, Boise State was dead last in run explosives allowed. They have given up way too many explosive runs. Some of that's tackling, some of that's run fits. But that's where, if you're looking at like New Mexico this weekend, where can New Mexico get at Boise State? New Mexico's got a creative run game. I think there's a chance that they hit some explosive runs. And that, to me, is where Boise State really has to shore up their defense. Secondary played better, gave up just 1 explosive pass play. And look, you're going to get beat. I talked about this with Markel, and obviously he's lived through it. When you're a corner, when you get beat, it looks bad, and it's really obvious to say, like, oh, that guy got beat. That's a bad play. But look, man, CJ Carr's a future first rounder. He got some wins. They did a good job in the passing game, but I thought the secondary, for the most part, had a pretty decent game against Notre Dame.
Like I said, a lot of different ways we can go with this. I wanted to play one of Spencer Danielson's comments, if I can pull it up, about the quarterbacks, because I know that got a lot of talk after the game. It's Keaton says, but just so you know, the players don't, like, he says, why does he avoid the post-game interviews after big games? I've noticed this for a while now. Got to show leadership qualities. He's not avoiding anything. If Boise State's sports information department may be avoiding him, but it's not Maddox Madsen at all. If they give us 1 offensive player, 1 defensive player, you can make requests, but they decide who is going to talk. And so it's not like Maddox Madsen's sneaking out of the locker room before we get a chance to talk to him. That's not how this works. So he does not deserve any criticism for not doing the interviews. That's Boise State just picking somebody else, and they don't want to put a guy that had a 4 interception game in front of the media afterwards. So that's not on Maddox. You mentioned the passing game, though, and what do some of the numbers, the PFF numbers and things, say about Maddox's game? And obviously a lot of discussion about, oh, he's rolling out too much because he can't see over the line, and oh, he's, it's time to move on. I mean, this year you don't have an option. I'm sorry, Max Cutforth, love the dude, might have a chance at some point, but I just don't think right now Max Cutforth has shown enough that he needs to be given more of a chance to see the field right now. I think Maddox Madsen, especially moving forward, as we said, back into Mountain West play, I think he's going to play well too. I really do. I think you're going to stick with him, and I think he's going to play well. Is that because of who they're playing? Whatever, sure. Are there bigger issues, big games going into next season? Do they need to try to go, Mike Prater said on the post-game show on the radio, go get $1 million quarterback in the portal or wherever. I don't know if that's happening or possible. I would assume Maddox Madsen's going to be the starter next year too. Boise State seems to really like him, and I think he's a solid quarterback. Is he a top 10 national quarterback, which some people are saying you need to, like you said, win the CFP game? I don't know the answer to that. Probably not, just looking at the numbers, obviously. But I'm here and go. Here's BJ defending Maddox Madsen again. I get it. I just, you don't have an option right now in this season. Right now, I don't think Max Cutforth. I'm sorry, guys. Former walk-on, came in, did a nice job, but you don't make a change. You just don't right now with Maddox Madsen. So Maddox Madsen, I think, is going to be the starter the rest of the season. But if you want to have the discussion in the offseason about bringing in somebody else that can push him, which we were saying all offseason this year they should have done, didn't have enough depth. They got to go find somebody. Nobody wanted to come and be the backup. They're going to have the same problem next year, but I think they need to find, if you want to argue they need to bring in somebody to compete with him next year, that's fine. But I think it's silly to call for him to be benched at this point in the season.
Yeah, and I guess this is where we have an advantage, seeing a little bit of what Cutforth has done in practice. You go to a week of practice, Maddox is going to be the better quarterback 4 out of 5 times from what we've seen, right? And look, Maddox has played well in a lot of Mountain West play against Eastern and against App State. He was phenomenal, right? So it's not like he's a just totally bad quarterback. We're not talking about like, the kid at Stanford who was putting up 20 PFF grades every single game. But the Notre Dame game was really bad, and there's really no defending it. 22 of 37, 215 yards. We appreciate him going over for the sake of the gambling column, but 4 interceptions, 4 sacks. Both of those are career worst marks. 6 turnover-worthy plays, career worst mark. Couple of big things that stood out to me that I included in there. His time to throw was at 3.27 seconds. It's the highest he's had this season. For context, against App, it was like 2.5. So either receivers weren't getting open, which I think is part of the issue, but I also just think Maddox got panicked. I really do. I think he wasn't seeing the field well, and I think that he was holding on to the ball way too long, waiting to see guys get open instead of trusting some throws that guys would have been open there. And to me, that really started to happen after that first pick where he threw it to Ben Ford. Ben Ford slipped. And I'm sure Boise State fans will argue whether it should have been.
That was the one right before halftime.
Right before halftime.
That was a killer. Yeah.
Yeah, because that right there is a good throw from Maddox. It's an anticipation throw. He hits Ben Ford coming right out of the break, and if Ben Ford's standing, that's a big catch, and you're down inside the 10-yard line. Instead, Ben Ford slips. The ball gets picked. And from then on, it didn't totally seem like he was trusting his throws. And then things really started to spiral. You have the pick to Latrell Caples where he just stares him down. Latrell never gets open, and he just throws it. And I think that was one of Leonard Moore's 2 picks, and it's way too easy. And then you've got a 4th and 2 on the next drive where Latrell Caples is wide open in the flat. That's the read, and he pulls off of him way too quickly to try to come back to Matt Wagner. So I think part of the issue with the Notre Dame game, it wasn't one thing over and over again. It was almost every part of the game for Maddox that really struggled. I mean, took more, the 4 sacks. Yes, the offensive line gave up some stuff, but Maddox took too many sacks. His sack to pressure rate was 20%, which is way higher than his season normal. Logan said there was no one open. Look, there were some plays where no one was open, but there are reps there where guys are getting open. Great example on that pick to Latrell Caples in the second half. He's got the check down. Sire Gaines there is no one within 10 yards of him. You just hit the check down, you pick up a first down, you move the chains, but he just stares down the first read there. So look, the receivers weren't great. And I certainly have some opinions on who should be playing in that room. Specifically, Cam Bates, I think, needs to get more run. Cam Bates or Quentin Brown, they need more speed out there. They need more explosiveness. They need to find a way to get those guys more involved. But to me, a lot of this game is on Madsen, and the PFF numbers agree. A 39.0 grade. I don't think I've ever seen a Boise State quarterback have a PFF grade that low. And if it was all receivers not getting open, the PFF numbers would have charted that in there. A lot of this game is on Maddox, and I know there's become kind of a weird stigma that BNN won't criticize Maddox. I haven't seen that to be the case. I think you and I have been fair when it comes to Maddox. And look, this game, 100%, Maddox did not play well. Doesn't mean it's 100% on Maddox, but he did not play well.
We had some voicemails in the queue, and BSU Bill said to play his, and then they're calling for it. Let's hear BSU Bill's sexy voice. So it's a Monday morning. Why not? Let's get weird, I guess. Bill, first up on the voicemail, and Bill had 2, I believe. He couldn't get his point across in the minute and 30 seconds, but we'll start with Bill, and give me just a thumbs up if you can hear this when it starts playing, Nathan, to make sure we're good and there's no echo or anything. This is Bill on the Signature Roofing voice inbox.
Hey, BJ, this is Bill. Want to give a couple takes on the quarterback situation since I think there's going to be some extremes on both sides. Trying to give a rational take here. So for the rest of the season going forward, Madsen's the guy. I mean, unless he has a game like Notre Dame again versus somebody, then maybe you go to Cutforth, but I don't see that happening. There's one thing Madsen has proven is that when we play teams that have, inferior competition to BSU or skill level, he will shred them. I don't mean that as a backhanded compliment. It does take skill. Good quarterbacks beat bad teams, and he does that consistently. So the rest of the season, Madsen's your guy. Try to win the third Mountain West title. Hope it works out. But going forward, I think two things need to happen. First thing, and probably the biggest priority, is you have to keep Jackson Taylor and Traden Bessinger signed. Both those kids being, high upside, high recruited quarterbacks. Get them in here in January. Let's start to see what we got, because one of them is going to be the future of this program. So that has to happen. And then secondarily, heading into this offseason, I don't care what happens the rest of the year, if we win a third title or not. Maddox Madsen simply cannot just be handed over the keys again and given the starting job heading into next year. You need to bring a veteran transfer quarterback in to compete with him. And the only way you're going to do that is if you say this is an open competition. Madsen's not going to like it. If he doesn't like it, he can leave. I mean, he, quite frankly, has been given chances and hasn't proven he has the ceiling. I'm about to run out of time. I'm going to do a part 2, so hang tight. Hey, BJ, Bill here, part 2. Just saying in with Madsen, he doesn't have the ceiling, right? Whenever we play teams of equal to better skill sets, we've seen what he can and can't do. It's a problem. And the issue with Madsen is his deficiencies aren't things you can fix. You can't make him bigger. You can't make him have a better arm. You can't make him a dual threat guy all of a sudden, right? He is what he is at this point. So we need to see some competition in the offseason. And to fans and to the coaches who, if they're so blindly loyal to Maddox Madsen, say he's our guy, that's you telling me as a fan that you think the Mount West Championship is our ceiling as a program going forward, right? Because Maddox Madsen cannot get you to a CFP. Jeanty did that last year, not him, and he can't win you a game against a big team, and that's a problem. And then just kind of my last thought here, it's going to be interesting to see how Spencer Danielson handles this going forward. I like Spencer a lot. I think he's done a good job. I get he's the players coach guy, right? The guys love him. He retains players at a high clip. That's great. But there's a line to anything, right? And I think he sometimes his loyalty to the players gets in the way of his judgment. It's gonna be interesting to see if he can make the tough choices. I candidly don't know if he can, because there are guys in this program who he is loyal to, but there's massive limitations there. And end of the day, we need to win football games, not just have this be the big Spencer Danielson loyalty show. So I'm very, very curious to see if Spencer can make the tough choices going forward, because candidly, I don't know if he can.
Great voicemail there, Bill. Really appreciate it. I don't know why they only give you 1:30 for these voicemails, but Bill, appreciate you. Great stuff. Your name will be entered in the voice inbox giveaway on Friday for the $500 Shields card, and appreciate you. You got to be a paid subscriber, by the way. If you want the Shields gift card and you want to leave us a voicemail, you do have to be a paid subscriber. We'll take all the voicemails. We appreciate you, but just sign up. $5 a month, then leave us a voicemail and be entered to win your gift card. Your thoughts on Bill's voicemail there?
Yeah, I think it's pretty spot on in a lot of ways. Obviously I guess he said it first, but I hadn't heard what he said, but he reiterated a lot of what I said about, hey, you need somebody better than Madsen if you want to go win a CFP game. I think that's fair right now. I think back to the Brian Harsin era, where even when you had Brett Rippon, even when, you had quarterbacks you were comfortable with, Harsin always brought in a Montel Cozart, brought in a Jalen Henderson, brought in a guy who, if nothing else, you could give a package or two as a running quarterback. But Harsin understood that even if you have your guy at quarterback, you need a high-level backup who can add something to the team. I thought that was one of the big mistakes of the offseason, to be transparent. This team has 3 scholarship quarterbacks right now, which is probably fewer than any team in the Mountain West. Most teams tend to keep 4 or 5, if not 6. And I felt they should have brought in at least somebody who could be a change of pace and give you, even if Maddox is the guy, give you another option in there. One thing I will say where I'll defend Spencer Danielson a little bit is he talked about, can Spencer be the guy who he's a player's coach, but the first thing Spencer did when he got the interim job is he benched 2 veteran cornerbacks to get Marion McCoy more time, which is, if you look back at that 2022 team, the reason all of a sudden the defense went from, bottom 30 in the nation to being pretty competent was because he made some hard personnel decisions. He put the best guys on the field. Now, can he do that now that he is the head coach and he's known these guys for a couple years? Like you said, I don't think it's Max Cutforth getting minutes over Maddox Madsen, but can you give a guy like Quentin Brown or a guy like Cam Bates minutes over a Chase Penry, right, who has been around the program? Can you start to play some of these younger guys who are really talented and have shown some stuff in practice but just don't have the game experience? So I won't say that Spencer has shown that he can't do it, because he did. It's the first thing he did when he got on the job. But he has to show that he's willing to do it again, I think, at some positions out there.
Now, this comment says, I think we need more short passes. And I'm not sure if that's, in jest or being funny or serious, but I know you had some numbers in your in today's PFF column. If you're a paid subscriber of BNN, you would have already read this or can read this after the show. But you actually think maybe they need to be trying more the opposite way, more passes down the field.
Yeah. Maddox Madsen was 0 for 1 on passes 20-plus yards down the field. Just one attempt deep down the field. The Broncos have no passing explosiveness right now, and they're making it way too easy on opposing defenses because they essentially can just play 20 yards and in. You don't have to worry about the deep shot right now because, especially against USF, against Notre Dame, they aren't showing that they want to stretch the field vertically. And this is where I don't know if it's the play calling. They're not dialing up deep shots. I don't know if it's the receivers, just nobody's able to get deep quickly. Or I don't know if it's Maddox, if there's opportunities down there and he's not taking them. And that's where, you trust the coaching staff that they're in the film room and seeing what's going on. And, if they want to hook us up with some coaches film, I'd love to dive into some analysis on that. But regardless of where the issue falls, the passing game is just not explosive right now. And that's why when we talk about the penalties, I put out a tweet that I don't think the penalties are that big of a deal. The Seahawks, when they won the Super Bowl, I'm repping my Seahawks hat today. When they won the Super Bowl with the Legion of Boom, they led the league in penalties by a mile. Because if you're a good team, you can overcome penalty issues. And there are good penalties and bad penalties. The Notre Dame game, when Notre Dame also has 11 penalties, that's just the refs calling a really ticky-tack game. You want to avoid the unsportsmanlikes, the bad personal fouls, the false starts, illegal formations, those procedural things. And a lot of I don't have an exact list of all the penalties. It felt like a lot of them were more holding stuff, a lot of OPIs and DPIs that were ticky-tack. But the issue with the penalties is not, hey, we're in 2nd and 20 now. The issue is the lack of explosiveness means 2nd and 20 is insurmountable. It means that if you get behind the chains, that there's just no way to get a first down against a good defense. And to me, yes, the penalty is causing that issue, but it's exacerbating the fact that the passing game just is not explosive right now. So that's, to me, that's where a lot of the issue lies. I think they need to find a way to get more vertical, which is why I say, a guy like Cam Bates, a guy like Quentin Brown, who, Quentin Brown could go start running track and qualify for the U.S. Olympic trials, right? He's got speed to burn. Give him, even if it's just 2 or 3 plays a game, give him the deep shots like we saw against App State, right? Force defenses to respect you vertically. So that's, to me, I don't think that they need more short passing game. I think it's the opposite. I think that they need to start stretching the field and forcing defenses to respect the verticality of the offense.
Got more voicemails to get to, more of your comments here as we roll along on Bronco Nation News Live. Great viewership for a Monday morning. Folks are fired up with stuff to say. We appreciate all of you that are watching. We'll continue those and voicemails and comments in just a second. I do want to thank Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and Game, the spa team at .com, locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978, and they're part of that Boise State home team, whether it's a sauna, pool table, the hot springs spa like the Raines family has, you name it. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. They got it for you online, thespateam.com. The fall kickoff sales underway at Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. Never a better time to buy a new pre-owned Ford vehicle. We appreciate Jim Sturk and company. You can view their full inventory online at lithiafordboise.com. And I was so jealous, Nathan. I'm out there outside the stadium doing my pregame show, and here comes all the sponsors, boosters, everyone walking by, and they're all having a good time. And there's Jim Sturk just walking by with a nice cold Michelob Ultra in his hand. I'm just like, man, that looks nice right now. But the fall kickoff sale, Lithia Ford of Boise, LithiaFordBoise.com. Again, check out their full inventory of vehicles, and you're not going to find a bigger supporter than Jim Sturk of Boise State Athletics, financially with his company backing it up and with what they're doing with vehicles and things, NIL deals for the players and stuff. So we appreciate them. Check them out at LithiaFordBoise.com. Also saw Matt Boucher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Yet again, Matt was there, Mark Sanchez, the whole crew. They were having fun. Saw Alex Guerrero as well. Ton of people. It was just a great time seeing everybody. And Matt was down there in the front row, I think, right behind the bench, going nuts during the game. So he's another guy backing it up. Just upped his Lyle Smith commitment, as you saw on the graphic. So he's backing it up financially. He's backing it up, and obviously as big a supporter as there is on the court for football, basketball, you name it. So return the favor next time you're looking to buy or sell your home. Do it with Matt Boucher and Boucher Real Estate. Ridley's Family Markets. ShopRidleys.com. They got 13 locations around the state of Idaho, surrounding states. ShopRidleys.com. Download the Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. And transportation compliance service, TransCompService.com. TransCompService.com. They can help you get into the trucking industry every step of the way, whether it's DOT, overweight, permits, all the things you need. They can help you out at TransCompService.com. All right, we're taking some voicemails. And again, Signature Roofing, you can leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN all week. We want voicemails. We're going to give away $500 gift card to Shields, and that's courtesy of Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, let us know at mysignatureroofing.com, and you can check them out. Great folks. I know you know them well. Go to church with some of them, and Joel and the whole crew there, Watts, we just appreciate them. They're great guys and great company, and we appreciate their continued support of Bronco Nation News. All right, let's get to another voicemail here. We have another two-parter. So we go for the two-parter. Let's go to Jesse. This is Jesse's first voicemail here.
So, BJ, hey, I don't know if Mike's going to be on the show today or who you have lined up. I don't keep track of it very often. I've been working so long hours, but I had a question for Mike, and I know that me and him have been really, really hesitant on Warren, and I guess hesitant wouldn't be the word. I very critical. I think Warren still is causing a lot of issues, but I'm not going to call for his job. He earned it back after the last week's performance against Appalachian State, but this week against Notre Dame, I'm going to say that our defensive passing defense is looking a lot better, and I'm wondering if it's because Chin's on the sidelines, and maybe because Warren was the guy that was supposed to be reading all these offenses, and maybe Chin just, said, hey, I'm going to start doing this. But I do notice that while Chin's been down on the field, we haven't been able to dial up the blitzes that we've been normally dialing up. Maybe that has to do with the opponents we're playing, but I just feel like our blitzing is not as good as it was. Does Mike think that that Chin being on the field is kind of regressing our rushing defense a little bit as well? I just want to hear his thoughts on that.
Appreciate Jesse there. That was Jesse #1. I know he had a second voicemail there, Nathan. We'll first on that one, I know there was some criticism after the game of the corners in particular. I know you had some numbers that maybe said otherwise. He did, and then just with the pressure and stuff, I don't know if I don't think they're not pressuring because he's on the sidelines, not up in the box. But just what was your take on that call?
Yeah, I think the secondary had one of their better games. Only one explosive pass play given up, and they obviously had the touchdown to Sherrod Smith, who comes in, gets some run, and I talked about this in the article. Mike Denbrock, their offensive coordinator, is one of the best in the country. OCs call it find the duck, right? If there's a new guy who comes in, if there's a freshman, someone comes in for injury, target him, right? Give your guy a 50-50 ball and make him this. Don't let him get in the rhythm of the game. And Notre Dame did that and took advantage. But all things considered, the secondary to me was not the issue. The corners had a fine game. Jeremiah Irby gave up 5 catches, most of them what they call a dime route, just 10-yard and stop. To me, that's a little bit more of a schematic thing. Boise's playing a lot of off quarters coverage, and when you play that, that's the route that you give up. Missed a couple wide open guys in the end zone. I know there was one where CJ Carr rolled out to his left and threw like a 40-yard ball that it looked like he's wide open, but in reality, if that ball's on target, I think it's probably a pass breakup and he overthrew him. But licking his chops, targeting Banks out there, that they went after Banks. And again, that's where Denbrock, he's going to figure out, okay, who's the guy that we want to target and let's go after him. I think all things considered in coverage, Devon Banks didn't have the worst game. The issue with Devon Banks yesterday was he had 3 missed tackles, on Saturday, he had 3 missed tackles. But I thought the secondary played better. And if you sort of take a step back now and look at the season as a whole, pass defense was good against Eastern, was good against App. I thought they had a pretty solid day against Notre Dame. And I think they had a good day relative to who Notre Dame is, right? This is an offense that put 56 up on Arkansas and on Purdue. So to hold them to 28, I thought the secondary did all right. And it's really, now you look back, the USF game opening week and Air Force, which, look, maybe Air Force is just one of the best passing offenses in the country. They put up 31 on Navy, and that was looking like an old school Big 12 game. So I've been pleasantly surprised, maybe not surprised, but just pleased with the steps that the secondary starting to take. They're starting to play a little bit better. The PFF grades kind of agree with that. Ty Benefield, Zion Washington had solid games. Marion McCoy, solid game. Now, the biggest issue to me is that Marion McCoy, Jeremiah Irby, Sherrod Smith, Franklin Johnson, Zion Washington, all of those guys had 0 pass breakups. They're not making plays on the ball right now, which I think has to change. They gotta get themselves in a position where it's not just close coverage, but when the ball comes out, you're able to make a play. So didn't stop any passes. They allowed first down after first down. I mean, again, you're playing one of the best offenses in the country. You're going to give up some pass plays, but
I know the numbers are what they are, man. But I'm just gonna say, like, it feels like every third down and every like goal line spot, like when they threw that pass to the end zone where the guy caught it on 1st and goal, it was like you knew that, like. And I know the numbers don't necessarily back this up, but it just feels like every time a team playing against him needs to complete a pass, like needs to get a first down, needs to complete a pass, like they just find a way to do it. They just go up in 10 yards, turn around, make the catch, and they move the chains. Like I know the numbers don't back it up, but it sure seems like they complete a ton of passes in key spots where they need to.
Yeah, and I think part of it in the Notre Dame game, again, is just you're playing an elite offense, right? Like, we know Boise State's secondary is not the Legion of Boom. They're not going to go out there and hold quarterbacks to 2 picks and no touchdowns. Like, they're going to give some up, and that's where I say I think relative to expectations, we came into the game saying Notre Dame might put up 50 and they might throw for 400 yards.
Yeah,
I think relatively speaking that the pass defense held up.
Well, that goal line stop too at the first drive of the game, I thought was huge to get some momentum. And I thought the killer one was the right after you score, great play call by Nate Potter. You get the lead 7-6. And then in less than 3 plays, Notre Dame's already inside the 30. Like, you just couldn't, that was a huge back-breaking response, I think. If you could have got off the field there and held them and even gotten the ball back and had a chance at more points before half, knowing that you're getting the ball to start the third quarter, and if you go into the halftime with the lead, I thought that would have been just a massive confidence boost. And when they literally just had, I think Spencer Danielson even said, just, with ease, just moving the ball down the field and let them come right down and score before half and take the momentum in the lead. They get the 2-point conversion. It's 14-7. I thought that was a key swing. And then Boise State's trying to get into field goal range, pretty much was in field goal range, at least the edge of it, and then threw that pick to not get any points before half. I thought that last 4 minutes after Boise State's touchdown before halftime was a killer swing there. BSU Bills wanting to know about, should we be having a conversation about Matt Miller? I know it's hard because he's an esteemed alumni. The wide receiver group has been subpar since he's been here. I mean, part of that's like the players you have. You got to have the players too. And they had some guys here that were very good and left and went elsewhere. And I mean, there's a whole bigger discussion there. But what are your thoughts on Matt Miller as wide receivers coach?
Yeah, I'm trying to think when Matt Miller got here. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but look, the wide receivers were good last year. Cam Camper was an NFL guy. That was a great evaluation in the portal. This year, the wide receiver rooms, I think, been a little disappointing, but also I think that, obviously Austin Bolt leaves the team in the spring, well beyond the portal window. And look, it was slim pickings in the portal this year. I mean, there are multiple stories out there of Mountain West coaches finding guys that they like, and they end up going to, Big Ten schools because there just weren't good wide receivers in the portal. And so it's been a case of needing to internally develop. And look, man, Ben Ford has not really had an impact as a Bronco, and he's developed and has had a solid season so far. So, is this the wide receiver rooms that had Eric McAllister or Khalil Shakur or John Hightower or these, NFL guys? Probably not right now. But also I think that they're banking on internal development and feel like there's probably some young guys coming along. And I think after the Austin Bolt thing, you would have liked to have brought in a portal edition, and it just wasn't a great portal class, right? There was a guy that Boise State was after who they felt like would have been a good Mountain West player. He ends up at Oklahoma State, and he's hardly playing at Oklahoma State just because it's a trickle-down effect, right? Like Oklahoma State's needs a receiver, so they're getting guys who are kind of Mountain West, mid-level quality. So anyways, I'm not that concerned about Matt Miller yet. And then again, I don't know. Did you look up when Matt Miller got here?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I could look it up pretty easily, but
yeah. So I'm trying to. I think he's been here for quite a few years, and so he got here in 2021. So I mean, he was here for the Khalil Shakir era, right? And was there for that. So Eric McAllister would have been one of his guys who obviously has left the program, but while he was here was an NFL guy. So yeah, I'm not that worried about Matt Miller. I've also seen a lot of comments about Quentin Brown not playing. The only thing I'll say about that is, Spencer did say he broke his nose. So I wonder if they held him out because he broke his nose and there were some lingering injury effects to that. So I wouldn't say that he just outright got benched. There may be something more there with
yeah. BSU Bill's talking about JD's reply to me. Actually, Nathan, you were the one that sent me that. It was like midnight. I'm like, uh-oh. And I went and looked at it. I know he wasn't happy with it, but it is what it is. It wasn't really a shot. It was just, hey, Spencer Daniels saying the receivers can't get open. Meanwhile, here's a former receiver wide open for a touchdown. And I know Eric McAllister's had some off-the-field issues. I'm not saying that he, to bring him back, none of that stuff. It's just they have had in the past some wide receivers that could create space and could get open and could be big-time players. And Eric McAllister was one of them. And he was on this team a year and a half ago or whatever it was, and now he's making plays in the Big 12, and he's the kind of guy they're missing right now and could really use. And I know with NIL and portal and all that money, like I'm not saying they could have kept him, should have kept him. I know he was more of an Avalos thing. If Spencer was here, he might still be here. It wasn't necessarily a shot at anybody, and it wasn't even really a shot at the current wide receivers. Spencer Danielson was the one that said they can't get open. I was just saying, he says they can't get open. Well, here's a guy getting open that used to be here. It was more of an observation than anything else. Obviously, yeah, JD didn't really like it, thought it was a shot. It is what it is. He's entitled to his opinion. I'm entitled to mine. It's social media. Everybody was frustrated after the loss, but it wasn't supposed to be some shot at the current wide receivers. It said per Spencer Danielson. Spencer Danielson was the one that just said 2 hours earlier the wide receivers can't get open and can't create got to win more one-on-one battles, got to get more separation. So I just found it interesting because, like you said, they have had some guys that done that in the past. So he said noted, I think, that's fine. But it was pretty much a fact that, Spencer said the guys weren't getting open, and here's a guy that's getting open that used to be here. It is what it is. Doesn't really bother me. I'm sure I've said plenty more that's ticked off Cody and Jeremiah and Leon and everybody else. So it is what it is. We got another voicemail here. I know we're late on time here, but I do have one more voicemail from Tyson. Let's listen to this. Tyson on the Signature Roofing voice inbox.
Tyson from Lewiston here. BJ, if we go another game against a Power 5 opponent without running a trick play on offense, I'm burning my Boise State gear. How are we going to punch a team in the mouth if we don't try and throw a haymaker? It's ridiculous.
Short and sweet.
Yeah,
that was it, I guess.
Yeah, I actually agree full-heartedly. Look, you're playing Notre Dame and you're having struggles in the passing game, creating stuff. Why not dial up something different, something special? And this is
Parker says they did. If you're going to count the naked boot as a trick play.
No, that's not a trick play. It's a naked bootleg's not a trick play. If you want to count it as one, that's fine. But look, when you're struggling, when you get into a 2nd and 12. And your pass game hasn't been explosive, why not try to dial something up? Why not try to steal points, right? That's how I look at it. And I don't know, a lot of coaches are this way, where they dial up a lot of the trickery in games where they're heavy favorites. I think even Notre Dame did that last week when they were up 30 against Arkansas. They ran a trick play on a 2-point conversion. Dial that stuff up when you're in a game where you need to steal a possession or you need to steal a touchdown. That's how I look at it. And look, I'm sure that they have it in the playbook, and they're always looking for specific spots on the field, right? So let's say we know that Notre Dame runs this on 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 2. So if we get on the left hash, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, we have this play that we're going to pull out, right? And so maybe it's just a case of they didn't get in that game script. But yeah, to me, I think it's stuff that you have to keep in your you have to keep it in your arsenal, and you have to put it out there on film so that teams prepare for it. And along those lines, just I think that when you need that extra play, why not do one of those things that puts the defense off balance? I think in the second half, especially, Notre Dame looked very comfortable. I talked about this with Markel in the postgame show. When you're playing defense, you want to be able to react and not have to think. Notre Dame didn't have to think very much with Boise State's play calling. And I don't think the play calling was bad per se. Nate Potter, I thought, did a good job. The running game was efficient, even if not explosive. The passing game, there were guys there. And as Justin Kay says, it's part of the history here. I don't see it more as a last resort. I see it more as just you go into the Notre Dame game. Hey, we probably need to steal a touchdown. We need to have a player or two dialed in there that can do that for us. So look, I'm not a head coach, so it's a grain of salt, but that's my philosophy on it. I'm with Bronco Nation on this one. I would have liked to have seen something to try to misdirect Notre Dame's defense.
All right, I want to play this short Ashton Jeanty interview before we get out of here, Nathan. But just to kind of sum up this last, 56-minute discussion here, overall, where are you at with the team? Obviously going to be big favorites, or at least favorites in every game the rest of the season as in the Mountain West. Still a decent chance. They're 10-2 and playing in the championship, and 11-2 and hosting the championship and playing in the LA Bowl and having your season over on December 14th and a chance to still win 12 games. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say they should win the rest. They should win out the regular season, and then hosting the championship game, they should win that. I think. Everyone's talking about New Mexico, and they're 15-point favorites over them. UNLV, we can get into that at some point, but I know they're undefeated, but I don't think there's some team that you're scared Boise State can't beat them. If you look at how they've won some of those games, so I still think Boise State has a chance to go 12-2. Still have a chance to, finish the season strong. I know that's not good enough for some people. They want CFP. They want wins over Notre Dame. I get it. I understand it. But there's still a lot of wins left on the schedule. And obviously that, starts Saturday against New Mexico, hopefully. But just the issues from Notre Dame and moving forward, just what's kind of your big picture take here?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, like what the power ratings said was going to happen is kind of what happened, right? Vegas and the power ratings had it about a 21-point game. Notre Dame won by 21. They moved down a little bit in SP+. They even moved up. Boise State actually moved up in K Ford ratings with that performance, right? So I think context matters, and I put it in the article. How you felt about this team on October 3rd after that game probably shouldn't feel too different for how you feel about them on October 6th. Right now in K Ford, SB+, Sagarin, my personal power ratings, Boise State's still the top team in the conference right now. I think winning the conference championship, not just on the table, but I think it's absolutely still the expectation. And yeah, like against New Mexico this weekend, you're going to be heavy favorites. And I think you'll be heavy favorites the rest of the way. UNLV fans found one of my tweets about UNLV football, and they were pretty upset, said it was cope from a Boise State reporter, but UNLV went to Wyoming, a Wyoming team that's just absolutely decimated by injuries, and lost the success rate battle, lost EPA battle, lost the yards per play. Every statistical category they lost, but forced 2 red zone turnovers, get 2 blocked punt touchdowns. Like, they've been very unimpressive against a 5-0 schedule. I don't think, UNLV is that good. There's really no one in the Mountain West that I'm looking at and saying I would have Boise State as an underdog in that game. So, it's disappointing. Boise State and the program itself, their goal is to win a CFP game. They've made that clear, and they probably are not going to hit that goal this year. But you can still go out and win a Mountain West championship. And And I think sometimes Bronco Nation take a step back, take a breath, and say, man, our disappointing years are still competing for conference championships, right? Like the worst season in program, the past 20 years still walked away with a Mountain West championship. There's a lot of fan bases. I mean, you're a Kansas fan, man. How blessed would you be if they were playing for a Big 12 championship at the end of the year? So, I think there is sometimes Bronco Nation needs to take a little bit of a breather and say, hey, our expectations are high, and that's good, but the expectations are high.
Well, Nathan, I spot on with all you said there. Great stuff. Hopefully folks will go read your PFF grades and your snap count story right now. You had some instant analysis thoughts after the game, some great stuff looking at the numbers of Maddox Madsen. And again, today's our last day of the 50% off. So $5 a month. Jump on board and subscribe today. You can go read all of Nathan's articles. You can read Prater's stuff. But a great article just posted about an hour and a half ago looking at the PFF grades, the snap counts. I like the snap counts. Who do the coaches put out there more than other players? Who's playing? Who's not playing? That's all great stuff. So I'm going to play this Ashton Jeanty interview and keep it going for a little bit, Nathan, but I'll let you roll. I know you have a full-time job. We appreciate you for jumping on today for an hour here, and we'll talk to you at some point soon, man.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, BJ.
There he is, Nathan Carroll. Appreciate him. Great stuff from Nathan on pregame, postgame. Did a tremendous job. Appreciate him. Okay, Ashton Jeanty. I'm going to preface this by saying that they lost 40-6. They're 1-4. And they had a 4-hour flight back to Vegas, so they were not in the best of moods in the locker room there. Ashton Jeanty, nice enough to talk, but as expected, some of his answers were a little short. His focus may have been a little bit elsewhere at times. So appreciate Ashton for talking. There's a little group scrum at the beginning, and then I got him for a couple of questions afterwards. So not maybe the most engaging interview we've ever heard with Ashton Jeanty, but rightfully so. They're 1-4, terrible loss. And, he was still nice enough to talk. So I appreciate him for that. He did have 14 carries for 67 yards, averaged 4.8 yards per carry. Also had 5 receptions for 42 yards, but he was the team high with 7 targets in that game. So 19 touches, 109 yards, did not find the end zone, but I thought he had a pretty solid game. And it was nice to see the Raiders actually involving him and giving him the ball. I thought that he had a nice game, and the first play of the game on the swing route, that was great to see. It was just cool seeing Ashton Jeanty out there play an NFL game after watching, literally every single one of his college games in person. To see him play an NFL game, I thought it was pretty cool. And I know a lot of you guys that went to the game thought it was cool too. Again, here's Ashton Jeanty. It's only about 3 minutes after the game, talking to the media, and then BNN here.
In terms of just not being able to get any momentum after that? As an offense, we just didn't finish drives in the red zone. To me, that's it. You get to the red zone, you got to put points on the board. What's the solution? I know you guys are working hard in practice, but to be able to get results going forward? Just got to get better. We got to capitalize in the red zone. Right now, I think we're probably one of the worst teams in the red zone. So, we got to get better. Third down, fourth down, we got to be better. So I can't say there's a specific answer. We just got to go back, watch the film, and everybody look in the mirror and see how you can get better.
They got the ball in the backfield. The first play of the game, was that kind of know that was going to happen? You started out with the rest.
Yeah, we obviously practiced that play all week, and we got the man look that we wanted. Got the linebacker in space, so we were able to capitalize on it.
You just had such a good drive to start. Is it frustrating not being able to capitalize on building momentum off of that?
Definitely. And, moving forward, we just got to continue to get better and capitalize on opportunities like that.
Thanks, Ashton. Appreciate you. Ashton, what's this experience been like for you so far, man?
It's been challenging. Obviously, you want to win, more than anything. But through it all, man, God is good. I'm blessed. Highly favored to be able to play in the NFL, regardless of how things are going. But we're gonna keep working. At some point, it's gonna go our way, and we're gonna put it all together.
What'd you think of what Dylan Riley's been putting together back at Boise?
Great things. All the guys over there, they all have extreme potential, and Dylan's putting it on display right now. So if he just continues to work, he can be another great running back to come to Boise State.
I know you're super busy, but how much are you trying to still stay in touch with those guys and follow what they're all doing, especially the guys in the stable?
Yeah, I try to as much as I can. Those guys are always calling me and calling them too, just to keep in touch. So gives you good perspective, and you kind of mentor the next guys up.
What does it mean to you? I asked you at the draft too, but just to be out there doing this and still repping that brand and that program that kind of helped get you here.
It means a lot, man. I mean, there's a lot of things, different places that help me get to where I'm at, and Boise State is one of those.
You said you're not used to losing, man. You won a lot of games in college and stuff. And how do you? There's a lot of season left, but how do you how to deal with something you're not used to doing? I guess.
I think to me is you just gotta look in the mirror, man, and see how you can continue to get better, how you can help the team get better, and all of us just gotta stick together more than anything, so that we can find a way to win.
And what would you say? I know the fans losing yesterday to Notre Dame. Boise fans are a little frustrated with how the season's going. What would you say, knowing Spencer and those guys, a lot of season left there in Boise too?
Man, just trusting them guys. I mean, we got a great coach, a great team. They're gonna keep working. They're gonna keep getting better. We just getting started, so it ain't over yet.
There he is, Ashton Jeanty, and Logan said he seems so annoyed. Yeah, like I said, they just got destroyed 40-6, and he's got to answer questions about Boise State. Like, I get it. Believe me, I wasn't, super thrilled having to go in there and do it, and knew he wouldn't be in a great mood, and wasn't expecting him to, give me a 20-minute sit-down interview, but he did it. Nice enough. Appreciate it. Shook his hand, talked to him for a minute, said, it's good to see him, and happy to hear, other than the team results, things are going well as a rookie in the NFL. So open locker room in the NFL, by the way, too. You wait 15 minutes and they just open the door and you can just, go in and get whoever you want. Definitely the pro sports is much different than college. Every player's in there, showering, changing, packing up their gear and getting ready to head out. And you can just walk up to whoever you want and get whoever you want at that point. It's a much different, it's not like college where you can just go in the locker room. Oh, there's Maddox Madsen. Let's go up and get him. Nope. The college, they just pick one or two players and send them out to the podium or outside the locker room. That's how it works. And NFL, pro, everyone's available. It's a lot different. And like I said, I wouldn't hold it against Ashton, wouldn't hold it against, I just could kind of tell that was the end there. And I wasn't going to keep asking questions that he didn't really want to be answering. And he was nice. It was good to catch up with him and talk to him. But he obviously tough game for them. His longest run was 12 yards, by the way. Longest pass was 29 yards reception. Again, 19 touches, got involved a lot. I thought it was good to see them finally involving him in the game, but just didn't, unfortunately for the rest of the team, didn't go very well. And thanks, Melinda. Appreciate that. And appreciate the Raiders for helping me out, and the Colts. Initially, the Colts denied the credential. Colts ended up approving it. And then thanks for the Raiders for, letting Ashton know that I was there and making sure I got a chance to chat with him after the game. So, maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, midweek interview, he'd be a little more engaging right after he comes off the field, ticked off that he's 1-4 with a 4-hour flight ahead back home to be asking about Dylan Riley. Maybe wasn't the perfect time for that, but it was what it was. And that's when we were there and hope to talk to him. So appreciate his time, appreciate the Raiders, appreciate the Colts. And, most importantly, appreciate all of you. A record viewership for a Monday morning show here. A lot of you guys are fired up about this team. And as I said, this is our last day of the 50% off deal. So you want to jump on board, perfect time, read all of Nathan's analysis. Mike Prater, I'm sure, will have a great column this week about where things stand. All of our work, all of our shows, Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny on Wednesday night. You want to hear Mike Sanford's take on this game. Today is the final day, $5 a month. Sign up, help us out, support us. As you just heard, we're taking 3 people down to Mountain West Basketball Media Days in a couple weeks. We'll have live shows down there, live coverage all day at Basketball Media Days, talking to all the coaches and players. And we really appreciate if you could help us out and subscribe. $5 a month is all it is. And you can just do a one-time payment. I think it's $60. You're done for the year. And we appreciate you. And then when it renews at the full price next year, you also get the Paramount Plus subscription in that as well. And that basically pays for itself. So that's something you have looking forward to when it renews at the full price. You get the Paramount Plus subscription. And but Nathan does a tremendous job with the snap counts and the Pro Football Focus grades and all that stuff. And we throw some news and nuggets in the VIP message boards when we get those as well. And so a lot of great things we believe value in terms of being a subscriber. So we appreciate you guys that have joined us with 24/7. And those of you that haven't, hopefully today's the day you'll decide to jump on board before that special goes away at midnight tonight. And I know folks disappointed, frustrated, whatever, but in the end, you were 21-point underdogs. You were supposed to lose the game. by 21, according to Vegas, and basically, and I know it's not exactly what it means. They want money on both sides, but you did about what you were supposed to do. You lost by 21. The 7 points certainly concerning. Maddox Madsen's play certainly reason to be concerned at times, but the defense showed some things, holding them to 28 points. And we'll find out today about Matt Lauder. Spencer Danielson will talk to the media at noon. We will try to stream that live. So come back in about a little over 90 minutes. We will stream Spencer Danielson, Eric Shenander, and Nate Potter's press conference live. That'll be a live press conference at noon for their weekly Monday press conference. So we'll stream that today. We'll get some thoughts up afterwards, and then coverage all week, getting you set for New Mexico. Back-to-back home games, New Mexico and UNLV. Chance for the Broncos to get a couple nice wins in the league, get some momentum, and get back on track here as they move forward. And I know a lot of you are going to be disappointed regardless, but they could still finish this season 12-2 with a Mountain West championship and a bowl win. I think a lot of people would take that. It's really hard to get to the CFP every year. It's really hard. And I know the South Florida game kind of put a buzzkill on the season. That's the game that's going to hurt you, because if you had just lost this game 28-7 and you would have run the table the rest of the games, you probably would have still been in the CFP. So the South Florida game is going to hurt all season long. It is what it is. But there's still a lot of wins left on the schedule, and they could still finish with a really nice record in the conference championship and a bowl win, which I know that that's not good enough for some people, but it is what it is at this point. So we got you covered for New Mexico all week long. We'll get you set for the game. Late one, 7:45 this week. So it'll be a late night post-game, late night pre-game, all that stuff. So appreciate all you guys for checking us out. Appreciate the record viewership. BNN continues to grow. And we appreciate you all for telling your friends and for watching these shows. There's still a ton of people that don't know about us. Met a couple at the airport that had never heard of BNN. So tell your friends, if they're a Boise State fan, they need to be watching these shows and hopefully subscribing to BNN as well. So $5 a month, go take advantage of it. Appreciate you. The final day for that. And then we will see you at noon for the Spencer Danielson press conference. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we'll have Jay Tust. We have the Riley and Ridge show tomorrow night. I believe Jaden Virgin Morgan's going to be the special guest over at the James. So make sure you make plans tomorrow night. Riley and Ridge, 8 o'clock. I believe we're doing a RJ Keene show at 7 also. We'll let you know more tomorrow morning or later today on social media about that as well. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. And be positive. There's a lot of football left to be played this season, a lot of wins still out there on the schedule. And I know it's tough getting past this Notre Dame game, but it was a great trip, fun trip, and moving forward, a couple of home games. Looking forward to that, starting with the New Mexico Lobos 7:45 that is coming up on Saturday night. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you at noon for the Spencer Danielson press conference. Have a great rest of your day. Bronco Nation News Live. Go subscribe at bronconationnews.com.
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.